Hey, Josh Rhodes here, Groovy Marketing. Hope you're well. I'm finishing a long day, busy day, productive day on my business, and was reflecting on a blog post that I wrote recently called Seven Tips to Reverse Engineer a Successful Business. Currently, I get to enjoy two or three successful businesses online specifically, and a lot of people I don't take it for granted because a lot of people want that. They want to be able to create revenue online. And it's not the easiest thing. It's also not like a silver bullet, magic bullet, rainbows and unicorns situation. It's hard work. But at the end of the day, there's some tips that I just want to give to other entrepreneurs that are maybe a step or two behind me, because guess what? There were entrepreneurs and folks that were a step in front of me that I looked to, and they coached me and they invested in me and gave me opportunities. And now I have fantastic landscape, and I'm able to do things with and for my family that most people don't ever get to do. And so this video hopefully is just an opportunity, this broadcast, depending on where you're watching it, either on Facebook Live or YouTube or my blog, wherever I end up posting this. I hope the following is just super helpful to you in your endeavors. And these are just some practical tips that you need to get your hands around. And maybe they're not all required, but they're definitely all going to give you momentum if you execute. So I'm going to start with number one. And just say, hey, set a date and a dollar goal. Make sure that you know where the finish line is. And there may be multiple finish lines. So never get complacent, but also always understand where you're headed. And somebody asked me the other day, hey, Josh, because I actually sat down with them at Whole Foods and had a lunch, and they asked me, how do I get to the next level? And I asked them particularly about their business, and they didn't know what a win or what a victory was. And so all they know is that they've got to hurry up and make something work. And if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's the fury of trying to chase the dream of creating a life of your own, controlling your own destiny. And I had to just kind of slow them down because, number one, I've been there. My personality is go ahead and do it, figure it all out later, right? But if you don't have a dollar, or especially from a business perspective, if you don't have a revenue goal or an income goal in mind, you'll never get there. A good friend of mine sat me down. We were on a trip to Spain, and we were in a park, and he sat me down and he made me, for 20 minutes straight without talking, write down all of my goals: business goals, emotional goals, family goals, friend goals, social goals, you name it. I had to put them all on a piece of paper. And when I did that, it wasn't magic. It didn't necessarily make it all happen, but it definitely let me know what the milestones I was shooting for. And so if you're going to reverse engineer a successful business, you must know what exactly you're reverse engineering. And at the end of the day, the true secret weapon is exactly what I just said, the phrase reverse engineering. Because if you know your date and your dollar, and you're able to dismantle it in reverse, it's kind of like the kids' mazes on the back of kids' menus at restaurants. You just kind of start at the end and work your way back. I used to do that all the time. And that's kind of, although you can't tell the future, you want to have a goal, and you want to reverse engineer that goal both chronologically and on a monetary basis, right? So that's tip number one. Set a date and a dollar, and we're reverse engineering all the way through. Number two is productize what you sell. Now, what do I mean by productize? I put quotations around that. Number one, you got to stay singular and specialized in your offering. Do not be a generalist, whether you're, in your product or your service. You can't do it all. And if you try to, if you try to do that, your product quality will suffer, and the effects that this has is your customer lifetime value will suffer. And ultimately, one of the main metrics in business, growing a business is your customer lifetime value. So if that goes down, you'll never grow. And if it's limited, if your customer lifetime value is limited, you'll never grow. So you have to identify the repeatable unit or the specialized, unique, productized service. This is really especially true for services or agency-based companies that don't sell a quote-unquote widget. You got to make sure that things are specialized in just singular and repeatable so that you can scale your activity and ultimately scale your growth. If that goes the wrong way, you'll find yourself in a golden hamster wheel, spinning your wheels and not getting where you need to go, and just spending more time and more time and more time on your business. And ultimately, without a productized offer, without a repeatable unit that you can scale and add new customers with, it's about what you're selling, and potential customers will be way more likely to buy your product. Let's see, that was number 3. Number 4, model the masters. You may have heard others like Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins say this. This is actually a really genius thing. If you're doing online sales funnels, a great way to do that is funnel hacking, or the art of funnel hacking. On my blog, I've got a post, and I've got a funnel hacking playbook. But basically, what you're doing is you're identifying what's been successful out there in the marketplace, and you're reverse engineering other people's client or customer acquisition models. You're not duplicating it or replicating it necessarily, but you're definitely taking the architecture, the structure, and the pathway, and you're creating it around your own product. So you've got a repeatable unit, you've got a productized offer, you've got a unique process in which you deliver your product, and you also need a unique process in which to sell your product. And a lot of times distribution is the number one asset that a company needs to reverse engineer success. So model the masters, see how the big boys are doing it, and then go and try to replicate that success with your own identity, your own twist, and your own execution efforts, right? And one of the ways you normally have to do that goes into my next tip, which is you have to acquire a skill at some point. Most people enter into professions with a low barrier of training or a low barrier of entry. When you're an entrepreneur, you are in skill acquisition mode always. You have to be. And there's usually going to be one skill that you don't have right now that you need to acquire. That might be Facebook advertising. That might be phone sales. That might be knowing how to do webinar funnels. That might mean learning how to do bookkeeping. I don't know. There's different scalable and growth-oriented skills that you need to acquire. I'm not saying you have to acquire them all, and I'm not saying that you need to try and do that. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a skill that you need to learn and to train yourself, or to have installed in your software, so that you can go to the next level in your business. So that's a huge tip, because if you don't have a skill, you don't often have the wherewithal to pay the bills. And it's likely that you've already done that. Like but if you want to go to the next level, you have to be more valuable, so that the marketplace valuates you as a more valuable asset in the economy. I mean, if you just think about that logically, that's a very macro economic statement. But if you become more valuable, great friend of mine named Casey Graham told me this. When you become more valuable, you get paid more, basically. The marketplace, the economy sees you as an asset to be leveraged. And that's a fantastic place to be, especially in a capitalistic society. And then lastly, actually 2 more tips. Get a coach. Number 6, get a coach. Invest in yourself. Because sometimes skill acquisition, you just come to an impasse. And you've got to get someone who's already been there, someone who knows the path, someone who knows your industry, someone who knows the skills that you need, whatever it is. Get a coach, invest in yourself. Right now, I pay $800 a month, and I have for a year just investing in myself as a CEO and a leader of a company. So make sure you invest in yourself. Sometimes that might mean that you need to go to a 2-day intensive and really fast microwave your way to the next level. Or you may need a monthly coaching guidance that's more spread out, whatever that looks like, a mastermind, a training program, a monthly group, etc. But usually you get what you pay for. At the end of the day, you can't be a cheapskate when it comes to coaching and investing in yourself and skill acquisition. So don't forget that. Lastly, reverse engineering success requires you to just do it. You've got to execute. You've got to get off your duff. You got to overcome your self-esteem issues. You got to get past your laziness. You got to get outside of your victim mentality or your entitlement or your limited mindset or, I don't know, paralysis by analysis, etc. And you've got to take action. And I know that might sound cliche, but it's a fantastic opportunity for you to just get things in motion. And when you do, the pathway, many times, unless you just have a boneheaded business idea, many times what happens is you start to see the plays unfolding on the field, and you can make iterative pivots and changes so that you can capitalize on the opportunity in front of you. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's a helpful video. As you watch it, thinking maybe at the end of the day, it just opens your mind to a broader array of possibilities for your business and for you as an entrepreneur. Because at the end of the day, when you are in the entrepreneurial phase of your business, it's very much dependent on your ability to execute and your ability to think big and your ability to bring talented people around you and your ability to have great ideas. Entrepreneurship is that. You taking advantage of what you have in order to create the resources, the livelihood, and the landscape that you want you and your family to enjoy now and in the future. So Josh Rhodes again here. Comment below. Let me know what you think about my content. Let me know if it's helpful. Let me know if you have a rebuttal or if you just want me to dive deeper a little bit. Maybe I can do that, okay? Josh here, groovymarketing.biz is my blog. If you want more information on sales funnels or entrepreneurship, etc., dig in at groovymarketing.biz. And thanks a ton for stopping by.